to Scoundrels Inc., another Star Wars podcast. I am Frank Janish alongside Brandon the Hitman Hannah and Kevin the Sequence Ultimate Watcher of Star Wars Supercut Smets. And this week we are getting into which Star Wars film has the best battle non-lightsaber, because that's a whole nother thing. Non-lightsaber battles, you know, is it Scarif, is it Geonosis, is it Coruscant, is it Endor? All of that, we're going to be ranking them the only way we know how, one at a time, knocking one down or up down the list.
Min bomb, guy. It's all about min bomb, dude.
That's right. We'll find out. And if you want to find out more in the future, subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, and comment on the video. What are your favorite battles in Star Wars? List them down below, or tweet at us, or send us a comment on Instagram or TikTok, which you can find us on all those social media sites as well. And Threads. Who could forget Threads?
Don't forget Threads. Don't forget the other one too. The honeybee. What was it called? Freaking
Hive.
You could also.
I was gonna say I've got a very lukewarm take on chicken wings on Threads. If you want to reply, why are they so expensive nowadays?
You know what?
Why are wings so expensive?
What? I just found out that Fatburger has wings. Did you know this?
No.
That Fatburger has chicken wings now.
Are they?
They
cheap?
have like 12 different sauces and stuff like that.
Wow.
There are
I haven't tried
in my
them.
background 5 different places you can get chicken wings. Like one right here.
Yeah, I've had them all.
Right here.
In one weekend, Kevin. Remember, I had like 5 different. Yeah, and it was
But
just
you
great.
didn't do the barley mash, or you did do barley mash?
Yeah, I did. That was the last one.
He hasn't done
one.
barley mash. He hasn't.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor.
And that one might. I think that was my favorite, right? I think
barley mash right now is up there. Yeah, we haven't done the one in OB yet. Those are pretty good wings too. At Pizza Port, so we'll have to try that.
Also, if you want to listen to us on podcast form, you can do that. Apple, Spotify, everywhere else, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, blah, blah, blah.
Brad Gilmore's house.
Brad Gilmore's house, which we are part of his network, Gilmore Media, by the way, so very proud to be a part of that along for the ride. Also, a few weeks ago, him and his group, 2011, they came out with a brand new album. So if you're into some like good R&B, hip-hop stuff, check that out. 2011, Brad Gilmore.
Remember, he was rapping in Houston after the Houston show at that bar.
Yeah,
was he?
Yeah, and I just remember him getting in Roka's face like.
Oh man,
that was a wild time. I can barely remember any of that.
Good time.
But also,
that was crazy.
I do remember this. On December 3rd, LA Comic-Con, 1:30 p.m. Scoundrels Inc., this show right here, will be hosting a panel at LA Comic-Con December 3rd. Go and check us out over there. And if you weren't going to LA Comic-Con, now you are, because now that you've listened to this, you're contractually obligated to go purchase a ticket this weekend. You got to go this weekend. We're going to be there. We're very excited. This weekend, yeah. This weekend.
Yeah, and you will be hearing from our lawyers if you don't go, because
that's right.
Frank said this is contractually obligated.
You've listened to it, you now have to go. Tickets are still available on the site, link in the description, so we'll get you over to the site. You click buy. We'll see you there at 1:30 p.m. and maybe a Hobbit or two shows up or something. I don't know.
And if we fill the room, I will autograph my Boss and Ask mask and give it to one lucky fan in attendance.
Wow.
If we fill the room.
How generous of Brandon.
Plus or minus 10 people. There's a couple empty seats that won't hold it against you.
Okay. That's fair. Good. You have a little leeway there. That's nice of you.
Yeah.
All right. Kevin,
like this.
You've been doing a watch of sorts. Pretty super.
First of all, I'm pumped up, dude. I ran this morning. I'm going to the gym later. I've worked out 10 straight days in a row. I'm going nuts, dude, for this panel. If we fill the room, I'll take my shirt off and do 100 push-ups.
I'm having deja vu.
Yeah, that's the conclusion of the joke of last week. I was trying to say, because I'm pumped for the battles, dude.
You look the same.
I had to get ready for the frickin' battles, dude. I'm so ripped, dude. Ready to rock it about Crate, dude. And Endor, bro. Star Killer base. Let's do it. But
listen, is it all about brute force, Kevin? Or maybe is it just one strategically placed Hammerhead Corvette?
Yeah, you never know. And that's a KOTOR. That's a KOTOR ship, by the way, the Hammerhead. So that should be number one for me. But I'll just prep my super watch and I'll make it like a Mr. Beast video. I'm doing a super watch of all the Star Wars movies chronological, and in the next 5 minutes you're going to do it. So make sure you like and subscribe our channel, and I'll tell you all about the super thing. I've watched so many videos where he said,
you should have buried yourself.
Like that,
you should have buried yourself for a week and watch all of Star Wars.
Yeah, that was a pretty good thing.
In a coffin.
I love that guy. I think he does so much good to people and charity and stuff. So whatever. I think he's a great dude. But I always love his opening videos. But he said that he's like, literally open your YouTube videos like that. It's like, be excited and say exactly what your video is going to be in the first 10 seconds. But yeah, the rewatch. How far are you, Frank?
I'm all the way at. I've seen it all already.
Yeah, I've seen it all, but are you on the comic books yet, or you haven't started it? Don't lie.
Look, you got time, I'm working like 12, 13-hour days this holiday season. It's a
second job. Yeah, I get it.
It's a second job for real. It is.
Well, I'll say this, man. When you finally ever get to do a rewatch, and I'm just telling this to the fans, there's discoveries I'm making. So I'm not giving you the play-by-play every week. But the Attack of the Clones novel. So I was getting ready to start Attack of the Clones, but I had remembered that the novel, the first couple chapters are basically it's if you listen to the audio novel, it's an hour. But the hour is literally all right before the crawl of Attack of the Clones. And it covers the first nightmare. The nightmare sequence with Shmi is freaking trippy, dude. Like it opens with a family dinner and Anakin's with Shmi and everybody's happy and he keeps looking at Shmi, but Shmi looks weird and then her face starts to smile and get distorted and distorted and distorted like a freaking the Smile movie, and then she just shatters into 1,000 pieces. Like It gives you visuals of these kind of dreams that he's having, and you're instantly like, holy crap. He wakes up from that and he's on the mission with Obi-Wan on Ancion or whatever that they mentioned. And he doesn't tell Obi-Wan what he's dreaming about. But like the visual of that first couple paragraphs, like he's so happy. And you know this is going to be a dream because obviously he's not living with Shmi and stuff. But it's like the whole family dinner and then her face like contorts. And you visualize it and it makes you really get in his head and you feel for it. And then it cuts to Shmi on Anakin's birthday. So right around the beginning of Attack of the Clones, people don't know this. It's Anakin's birthday, but no one knows because the Jedi are dicks and they don't follow birthdays probably. They don't give a birthday cake to freaking poor little Annie. But she's out on the desert like crying, wondering where is Annie? It's his birthday. She sees ships and always halfway thinks that Anakin's going to show up.
Okay? Annie, are you okay?
Yeah, that's exactly. So, but Owen, and shows her relationship with Owen, how he's been a great stepson to him. And I was like, this is a good cold open. Now you can get to the crawl. But no, dude, not to get too much more into it, because I know we're on a tight schedule today. But then you have a Shmi family knife dinner where it is kind of like that dinner. And it's so nice with Klieg and Owen, and Beru's kind of like uptight. But then they have like a little food fight, and like Beru finally takes an apple to throw back at Owen, but Owen ducks and it hits Shmi and everybody laughs. Like it's this like slice of life moment that's so happy. And then the next day Shmi gets kidnapped. And then you think, okay, that's the cold open. That's all I need to see. No, you see the 30 riders go out, and you know why only 4 go back. Because the Tusken Raiders put this laser line thing across the sand that they can't see. And so like within seconds, 25 to 20 dudes are all decapitated.
Damn.
And Klieg is behind, and
That's
he's able
savage.
to jump up in the air enough to just get one of his legs decapitated. And then Owen drags him off on the bike, and he's screaming like, no. And you just think if this was in the movie, it wouldn't be. But like it's like so brutal, and he's just screaming like Shmi's name as he's being dragged off on another speeder as the 4 escape. It's crazy. I mean, they have other stuff with Padme and her family, and then you realize why Panaka is not going, and he introduces his nephew.
Panaka's a dick. I don't like
Yeah, Panaka's a dick. But he introduces his nephew, Typho. And he lost his eye, by the way. You find out he lost his eye in the battle on Naboo. So I am this Super Watch, guys. I'm telling you, it's so fun. And if you follow, I had to update it, so I'll have to update it again on our video. But the first 2 chapters, it's an hour long on the audio novel, if you do that, of the Attack of the Clones novel, adds such you're just really ready for it. And then when you turn it on and you're watching, and I'm watching Attack of the Clones, and of course I'm also watching the deleted scenes with Padme and her family, it's just also powerful. And when you finally meet Klieg and Owen, and like you don't just think of Owen like, oh, this is my girlfriend Beru, like just a couple of young kids. It's like, no, you had a whole scene where Owen was part of that attack and he came back and grabbed Klieg. Like, it's just powerful stuff. So I really highly recommend the first 2 chapters of the Attack of the Clones novel. You really get into their heads. I would definitely say that. And then as watching Attack of the Clones too, like, just fuck the Jedi Council, man. They couldn't get a slush fund together to free Annie as mom. Like, I understand when you take kids from when they're like infants, and I wasn't part of your Attack of the Clones episode, so that's why I probably didn't get a diatribe about this. But like, come on, man, like send someone out to like just free her and let her put her in an apartment somewhere in a nice area of Coruscant. Like, she's alive, she's gonna be okay, Annie. They did it to themselves. So crazy. Like, I totally agree. Oh, and the slaughter, by the way. Well, before I know, I'm trying to keep this less than 10 minutes. Hopefully it is. But the slaughter, after I watched the slaughter in Attack of the Clones, I'm like, I wonder how the novel's handling it. Oh my God, bro. First of all, I sent you guys a picture of that little poor kid. Like, you just feel bad. Like, as a parent, you see these kids like looking up, a kid Tusken, and you realize, oh, that's like my daughter's age, and now that guy's gonna get slaughtered or whatever. But the crazy thing is, they go into like who he's killing, how he's killing it, and remember, I always joke like the Phantom Menace, they never do the super speed again after that opening with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Well, they do it. He does it. So he kills all the warriors, but all the women and children are running away. And he uses super speed and then stabbing them in the back and killing them from behind.
That's
like, they are running away. They are harmless, and they are running away. And he uses super speed. Like the text describes, like he's taking these big strides that are aided by the Force that's pushing him forward in time. And he kills him, and it's way more brutal. And it also confirms that no is Qui-Gon Jinn, because they weren't able to get his voice for that at that point. So highly recommend it. And also, I'm glad I'm not in the Schmodown anymore, because like I was seeing like a line like, let's see, Brandon, if you would know this. What does Obi-Wan ask R4 to jettison when he's trying to escape Jango Fett?
I know this.
Awful. Prepare to jettison the
spare parts canister.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. This is why I'm retired right now, and I'm out of. Because I remember just watching it. I'm like, oh, I think I would have gotten that wrong. Like, even in my heyday, I think that's just one note I never. You just forget how much it's. But the Star Wars Super Watch is going well. I'm also taking my time. So like after he.
Me too. I'm taking my time too. Me too.
You're really taking your time. But like I'm not able to watch it all. I'm a parent, right? So I could watch it in little spurts. But like I'm trying to break it off where it would be like the next night and stuff. So it's almost like watching Attack of the Clones in real time, like how long it would be in real life. But yeah, I highly recommend the Attack of the Clones novel. Anakin's a dick for chasing down women and children running away. That's just crazy to me.
I think some people would also label that as a murderer.
Yeah, it's quite murder.
He murdered them.
Especially after watching Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, it's true.
These are just people, bro.
But they do establish in the novel that this is a nomadic kind of a dick tribe. Like, they are going after. They've been.
That doesn't matter. He still murdered women and children
from behind that were running away. It's not like he went over to them and it was the one with the dog and the kid was like, what are you doing? No, they were running away and he used super speed to freaking cut him off, dude. Literally. All right, sorry.
Incredible. All right.
Padme still married him.
I'm fired up, man. I'm ready to go.
She likes a bad boy. I don't know. I mean, Padme may be one of those women that would like go to visit someone in prison, fall in love with an inmate, and then get married to them.
He would, dude. It's all about those conjugal visits, man.
Well, I didn't go there, but
she denies him the whole time when he's like a nice kid that's afraid of sand. But then right after he's like, "Oh, I slaughtered the women and the children too."
Like, wait a minute, I pegged you all wrong. Let me see. Well, if you're willing to kill innocent women and children, I should really rethink my stance on this young boy thing. Oh my gosh. All right, that's enough. Let's get into what we're here to talk about, and that's to figure out which Star Wars film has the best battle. Again, this is non-lightsaber. In the future, obviously, we'll do some lightsaber rankings and whatnot lists. But, all right. Let's...
You like how I sent you guys the list, so there would be no... I kind of took point. I'm like,
no, that was great. No, it was great because I've had a busy past few days.
Well, I didn't want you guys to, pull what you did with the best opening and all of a sudden be like, well, the Battle of Naboo is technically the opening of the
actually,
I'm joking.
Brandon and I, we actually, in our group chat, we had already started formulating a list. So I think you just ripped off part of our list to complete your list.
Did I miss that? I do not remember.
Yeah, look at that. Wasn't even concerned with what me and Brandon were talking about.
Do you have a side group chat that I'm not part of? I don't.
It's not a group chat. It's just when you one-on-one text someone. That's not a group chat. Yeah. A group is more than one person, Kevin.
It's me and Frank in a group chat. It's instead of calling it Kevin because you're not in, we call it Kev out.
That's right.
That's correct.
Kev out. Okay, let's start with all the way in the beginning, as in the behind-the-scenes documentary when George is sitting down to write the prequels. You remember that I think it was on the it was in the special or the DVD features.
Documentary. I think it's when he sat there
he titles it in the beginning. He titles it in the beginning. The beginning.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, they end it with him writing episode 2 on a yellow pad. I remember that.
Yeah. Or something okay, we're gonna put Battle of Naboo right at the top.
Deadpool showed up with the time travel device and shot George Lucas before he wrote episode 2. To avoid the sand. Sorry.
Right. Okay, so we're gonna
put
put
a whole Patton Oswalt bit, actually, if you guys ever want to look that up, about going back in time and killing George Lucas before he could make the prequel.
No, that's so bad.
Wait, where's that from?
Patton Oswalt, I think, has a stand-up.
Oh, it's in the stand special. Okay,
it's funny. It's not as morbid as I just made it sound, but it's good.
That's really funny because he has another similar bit in Parks and Rec where he filibusters.
Yeah.
And he's.
He got some of it right, by the way. I remember someone replayed it once where there was one part where not the part with Chewie's head or whatever, but
the Quinjet coming in from X-Men.
Okay, so we're gonna put Battle of Naboo at the top for right now because
that's in first place, dude. It's in first place.
First place. It has, and this is taking into account the field battle, right, and the
space battle above it. Yeah,
space battle above, and Padme and them getting back the palace with the viceroys, right? So not Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon doing their thing over there. So. This is taken into account. You have to take into account all the hijinks from Jar Jar and whatnot, and somewhat of the hijinks from Anakin in space. What's your favorite line, Brandon? The favorite line.
We should try spinning. That's a good trick.
There it is.
My favorite line is, "Now this is pod racing." I was
actually going to say,
traffic. I would say that.
I like Viceroy. Your occupation here has ended.
Yeah, it just caps people.
Can we talk about the gunshots too? This is why I love why I give more.
If you're gonna tell me she's a better shot than Sabine,
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that what?
The sound effects.
They didn't just do the typical blaster sounds, and I think that the sequel trilogy mindset was do stuff that's familiar. They didn't so there wasn't that many new. Think about the prequels, the sound design of and this hyperspace chase too. It's neither here or there, but in episode 2, so the sound design of the blasters for both the N1 starfighters and their little pistols is great. I think it's a great battle. It's a lot of people were after Infinity War, they're like, oh, what if this is what the Battle of Naboo could have been like, with more dark and stuff. It's I thought the battle in you can't just, if you're making these PG movies, you can't have human on human or alien on human death. So the droid army was necessary. And I think it's fun. I remember watching it in the theaters, and it was good. And I don't think it's going to be anywhere up there near the top, but I could be wrong. But it's in first place right now.
I like it.
I will say I love the setup of the battle when the droid army comes to meet the Gungans in the field and start the shield, and you get the shield, but then the droid army opens fire, and talk about again the sound design, the sound effects of the bolts hitting the phenomenal. I just one of my favorite Star Wars sounds.
I thought you were gonna say you love
we might have to do we might have to do a list on Star Wars sound effects. I think best sound effects. Dude. I think we should probably do one of those.
Add it to the list.
Let's move on to battle. Time.
Let's do it in chronological order too, not release order. Well, we are doing it. So we make sure we don't forget the two ones on the bottom.
Correct. Battle of Geonosis. Brandon, what are your thoughts on Battle of Geonosis? And you put it above or below Naboo?
I like it. So basically, like the moment the clones show up, right? Is what we're doing.
Yeah. This was tricky because it does have Jedi involved, but not, it's like visually it's cool when they're like all like in like the sandstorm basically, and like you just like see them like all the lasers shooting through that trailer shot when it first came out. I lost my mind.
Like, because that's like, it's like, oh, this is something we haven't seen before. It was like almost like a documentary type feel with like the zoom ins and things like.
They would do like a little shaky cam here and there.
Yeah, they wanted you to like make you feel like you were there. So like it's really cool and I like it. But I think I recently like saw a post online where someone was like, "This is the worst like battle strategy the clones could have done. They're just all standing in a field, just like shooting. And it's like there's like no strategy.
Like it's World War I, like or Civil War rather, like the Civil War, just open field, just someone's cranking firing. Like the machine gun.
Not to give real world to get too dark, but you'd never think that World War I strategies would be employed again, and it's happening literally in Russia. Like sometimes technology outweighs military strategy, but these idiots still are doing the same mistakes, right? Open fields or trench warfare, notwithstanding over there. So. But very bad techniques. You're
these
right.
These clones were being ordered by the Jedi to go into like just
it's straight up
field.
Like. And also, these clones are like 10 years old. They're all toddlers, basically. Running into,
they're accelerated 10-year-olds. Yeah,
they're accelerated 10-year-olds. So I think I'm going to fight. It's above Naboo for me for sure. And I think that it's got to be up. It's going to be up there now. I was hoping that Sean was going to be part of this one because I wasn't part of your episode 2 recap, but he says this is the greatest 8 minutes in the history of Star Wars. So I think this will be number 1 for him. But
yeah, I think it's more centered around the Jedi and what that represents. Whereas we're just talking about like how cool is this battle? So Sean has a good argument for sure.
We're like kids in the sandcastle talking about what their favorite battles are. But.
Yeah.
I think I would personally still put Phantom Menace above this, just because I like the pacing and the versatility of like bouncing around between space and the field and inside of like Theed and I just think that all like gels really well together. Like combine that with the lightsaber fight, some people might say that it's too much, but I don't know. I think it works.
I'm with you, Brandon. That's why I would put Battle of Naboo over Geonosis. I mean, visually, Geonosis is pretty cool. Like everything that's happening there, the clones and all the
Jedi. You're forgetting that we go back into the arena and you see the wide shot of Jedi. We've all, as a kid, dreamed of Braveheart style Jedi running one side and the droids the other. You get that. That's after the clones arrive, by the way. That's the Jedi arrive with with Mace Windu. This party's over. Yeah. So don't forget that it's crazy Jedi action. Continue your thoughts, but I disagree. Wholly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying I like the back and forth that Battle of Naboo has, the feel, and I think it's say what you will about Jar Jar, but I find it entertaining. I find it funny, and a little ridiculous. I think the space battle above with the Lucre Hull ship and all that. I think that's fun stuff. It also starts to build the Anakin legacy of the best starfighter pilot in the galaxy. There's the little crumb of that, even though he does it on accident. I think it's great, and the R2 stuff, and then inside the Theed Palace, that was really cool. They're shooting up the side of the building and all that, and blasting through glass and taking out, and like the sound effects as well helps a lot. It's fun. It's great. And look, I know Kevin's losing his mind, but I think Geonosis, the Battle of Geonosis it's such a it's really it's just a loud piece sequence, which is great in terms of like cool imagery and whatnot, but I like the going back and forth. I like that. If there was a space battle above in Geonosis, if there was that, I think then maybe Geonosis would top it, but because it's so... Kevin, relax. You're going to have your say in like 2 seconds.
I'm letting you say your piece. I'm actually doing what a pundit should do. I'm just waiting. You go. Continue.
Oh, now you're talking. Okay, anyways. I was just saying...
Well, you're talking because you brought it up. I'm quiet. I'm just sitting here.
Oh, okay, go ahead, Kevin.
The documentary for episode 1 shows right after they screened the movie in the theater with Rick McCallum, other producers, and George Lucas. And after the movie, everybody was blown away, not because it was good, because it was bad, because it was too much intercutting. And George Lucas is sitting in there and he's like, well, the thing is, you got to do this or this or this. And so it was actually too much intercutting. The Battle of Geonosis, the reviews for Attack of the Clones, everybody back in the day in 2002, if you don't remember, is everybody hated on the first. They're like, man, it's cheesy to the Anakin actor. Right when they were all hating on the Anakin, they were hating on the sand lines and the romance feeling forced. What did they say? They said, but the last 40 minutes are some of the best in Star Wars. Like, that's what reviews said. That's what all, like, literally, if they had Rotten Tomatoes back then, like, maybe they did, I don't know. But everybody was talking about how the last 40 minutes, which is the Battle of Geonosis, saved that movie. And it really did. And you're forgetting little things. I know you're excited about droids and Jar Jar antics and space battles and stuff, but you're forgetting you had Samuel L. Jackson. You had to decapitate Jango Fett. You had a Reek running around causing mayhem. You had Obi-Wan still dealing with the accolade. You had the arena battle mixed with, and then when the clones are coming, you had mini Death Star tech with the little lasers things. Then you had Vietnam style things. Remember where they're in the one drop ship and they're looking at the other drop ship and that one crashes and crashes down below. Like, there's so many cool things. The Dust Storm and the final like clones battle. And it kicks off the Clone Wars. So in terms of importance, I think it is a huge thing. So for me, by the way, this is not my hill to die on. So if I'm outvoted, I'm outvoted. But there is no way that the Battle of Naboo is better than the Battle of Geonosis in this top 10 list. But if I'm outvoted, I'm outvoted, and I gotta go with it. We have a time schedule. So that is my final argument, though. It's like you're forgetting other cool little things. You're right. That you've seen in all of the first movie, like in the Council. Now you see Adi Gallia and Ali Sakara, and I'm saying all these names wrong because I'm just flustered that you guys would even think to not have this above the Battle of Naboo.
Coleman Trevor, bro.
Coleman Trevor, the greatest Jedi of all time. And yes, I love that. I just said I like Battle of Naboo, and it beats some other things here. I think it beats Crate. I think it beats Mimbom, but like the big boom, boom, boom. Your balls flying around. That's the scariest thing in the Battle of Naboo. In the Battle of the Clone Wars thing, you had wide shots.
All right, Kevin. So
I react to my case.
I will say, because we're not taking into account the lightsaber duels in these battles, my mind kind of dismissed the arena, but to your point and to my own correction of that's not a lightsaber duel that's going on. That just happens to have Jedi in the battle. Yeah. So my mind, when I was going through it, I was like, I kind of removed that arena battle when I should be including the arena battle, which is a good point because I think, that clash when you see the two fronts clashing in the arena battle. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The instinct wasn't in there, thank God. They were almost there.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I want to see that footage.
I don't know if it exists.
Well, we have other battles. Look, I feel like we're.
So I'm going to say, Kevin, I'm going to put Geonosis over Naboo. I am. I'm going to go there now.
I should be in politics. Turn your heart.
Okay, so now battle over Coruscant.
Yeah, man. Well, man.
Entire planet's one big city.
That's what I heard. Kevin, where's it at?
It's above Naboo, still below Geonosis. Well, it's so good in space. See, maybe we should do it. We're never happy. We should do another one with space battles because,
that's true too.
Scarif and Coruscant are the two best space battles, and Endor. Those three. Like, if you had it, we could have a whole episode of just trying to pick those three in order. So, I still think that just the stuff going on, and I know it's Star Wars, but I think the Battle of Geonosis for me, it launched the entire. I mean, that style of battle is what most of the Clone Wars cartoon is, right? So it kind of launched that up. So I still think it's above Naboo. But I would acquiesce to you guys because I know we did rank it way up there as best opening of movies. So wherever you guys decide on the Coruscant, since you guys gave me Geonosis over Naboo, I would agree because 50-50, I can go either way, and that's all I'll say.
Here's what I'll say, and this might be controversial, I guess. I don't know. I think the tone that the battle sets up for Revenge of the Sith is why it's so high in the list, right? And it's the only in terms of like this list, the only issue, quote unquote issue, is that you don't really explore that battle. You only follow Anakin and Obi-Wan and what they're dealing with. You don't follow anything else that's going on. They show you like little snippets here and there of like them shooting, from the ship to, like sea battle type of thing, right? You see parts of that, but you don't really explore the whole battle. And you're just following one line, and that's Anakin and Obi-Wan. And for that reason, the scale is amazing. The scope is awesome, but it fails in like exploring everything that's going on. And so for that, I would actually put this at number 3.
Okay. Wow.
I would put it at 3. Brandon, what say you?
Wow. Let's see. I think we gotta
I'm flabbergasted I got there, but I'm like, I think I would for those. Yeah.
I think we got to start running through these quick. So I'm gonna say I'm not opposed to putting it at 3, honestly, because it's one of the best space battles and visually stunning way to open a movie, which is why it was ranked so high. But it doesn't last very long, and there's vulture droids in it, so 3.
That's true, and you're right. Like the reasons that it's so high is for different reasons. It doesn't need to be a high up here just because we said it. You're right. It set the tone for the movie, so that's why it could be high for a beginning, not necessarily high for a battle. So I agree. So Geonosis, Naboo, and Coruscant.
Coruscant. All right. Battle of Yavin, aka Death Star.
Well, I think we should do it chronological to keep our brains in like the Ken Burns Civil War era. So I think we should do Battle on Minban.
Oh, right. Minban. Yeah.
Minban. I just watched it recently. It's fun and good, but for the purposes of this thing, it's definitely it should be at the very bottom.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna put it at the bottom as well.
Yeah, it's used as a comic device of like, I'll be
there's not much going on there for me.
It's cool. It's interesting. It's like this level of ground warfare we don't get to see a lot of in Star Wars, like in the mud, like. Trying to take over homeworlds to make them a part of the Empire. Really interesting premise. But, aside from that, it's just kind of like we're introducing Han to Chewie and moving along the plot. So
this isn't a dig at the movie. This isn't a dig at the movie because they just did what they needed to do with this sequence. So
when we get to best scores, when we're going to rank those, Solo: Star Wars Story has one of the greatest scores in the Star Wars sagas. It's so good. And Mimban, shout out bonus points because it's actually a planet from Splinter of the Mind's Eye novel that was originally going to be the sequel to A New Hope if A New Hope failed, and it was going to be a TV movie. So I like that call out. So yeah, it's definitely down there. It would be on number 10, so I have that way below.
Yeah. All right. Battle Scarif, number 1. That's it. That's all I need to say. It's number 1. It's number 1.
Honestly, yeah.
I'm sorry. It's number 1 for me too. I think that's when you first mentioned this idea. I'm like, but just so you know, Scarif's going to be number 1.
Because originally we were just going to do the Skywalker Saga movies, and then Kevin, usually like, what about
it'll be it's going to be easy because whatever number 2 is, it still could be technically the number 1 movie or battle in the Skywalker Saga. Mimban's on the bottom, Solo's on the bottom, and Rogue One's
it's funny, just bookending our list. It's going to bookend the list. Well, we'll see.
The Battle of Scarif, you see Red 5 die before Luke gets his call sign. You have the space, like this is the
gold leaders.
Gold leader, red leader,
and then there's the ground battle with the sand and the ships crashing. Like there's so much. I know we're in a time crunch, so Scarif number 1. Hopefully we can when we do our deep dive into Rogue One, we can talk about it more because it is so. I just remember in the theater like, and just like Blue Squadron, and like just so freaking geeking out. And it has the Hammerhead Corvette. Shoving in the thing, Hammerhead Corvette is the Rebellion had to take anything they could, and that is from the KOTOR
Admiral
era.
Raddus. I mean, come on, guys.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
All right.
And you can technically think that Vader killing thing, because at the end of the battle is when they finally escape, and when the death plan escapes.
I still include it. I think that's part of it.
The destruction of Cher. I mean, you had the first use of the Death Star after the test on.
And it's the first like real battle in the Galactic Civil War. Like it's the first time that the Rebel Alliance actually like fought against the Empire like as an actual military presence.
Right.
Yes, dude.
And it resulted in like, it was like a turning point, and like it was not only the first battle, but it was a huge turning point because they got the Death Star plans, and if they never got the Death Star plans, it would have been a very short war.
Goosebumps,
right.
Bro, goosebumps.
Right, yeah.
Moving on, dude.
Battle of Yavin, aka the Death Star. Look, I was based on previous lists with Kevin, because it's the first one, it would probably be at the top, just it stays at the top. But because it was the first to do it, I kid. But in all honesty, I think it's interesting. So you could poke a ton of holes in this one. You could be like, you're gonna send out like 7 TIE fighters to defend the Death Star? What? You have an entire moon-sized space station filled with Lord knows how many fighters and or other types of ships. So this thing should never have been destroyed in the first place. Anyways, that withstanding, I think visually it's very fun. It does a lot of tension building, a lot of good tension building there. You get Darth Vader, and Luke Skywalker using the Force ultimately to help destroy the Death Star when he fires the torpedo. So I do like this a lot. But I am gonna put it above. I'm gonna put it just below Geonosis, actually. So it'd be Scarif, Geonosis, and I would put Battle of Yavin for me. Because it is pretty iconic. There's iconic stuff going on in there. Millennium Falcon swooping in at the end of the day to help Luke, and
but above Phantom Menace.
But above Phantom Menace, yeah.
Well, I my take on this, so I think you'll be the tiebreaker, Brandon. Battle of Yavin should go below Scarif. I mean, it should really it's the iconic, but I can't always give A New Hope the benefit of the doubt of just being the first to do it. But it does have the Death Star trench run, and that is like the most iconic thing. There's 50 video games about it. Other movies have countlessly kind of done homages or tried to do it. Like the Death Star trench run as a kid, when you're seeing that for the first time, it's blowing your collective mind. And it's the first time Luke establishes himself and saves the day. And the countdown was brilliant with the 15 minutes. I mean, you said, a disaster. It was a last ditch effort. Like this is all they can muster. So I would put it above Geonosis. But it's right up there. My reasons mainly are just because it's so important to the Star Wars lore and saga. Not only lore as far as establishing Luke Skywalker, but although people complain about Rey being a Mary Sue, but Luke got in a ship and then destroyed the Death Star 5 minutes after being in the rebellion. That's kind of
stupid. But he was flying T-15s back home. Yeah. He was flying T-15s like it was nothing back home.
Well, maybe Rey was fucking swinging around that staff for a while, guys. But and flying her fake Millennium Falcon. Anyways, I would put it above Geonosis. But so now, Brandon, what say you?
I think I'm okay with putting it above Geonosis, just because like you said, it's so significant, not just like culturally in cinema, but also in the lore of Star Wars. That point when Luke Skywalker goes from being this nobody to this is the guy that blew up the Death Star. This is the guy in the rebellion. So for that reason I would place it there. And also I would just say that my only complaint in this scene is that there's one shot where Vader's helmet kind of comes off a little bit because he's pressed up against the headrest in the TIE fighter.
You got to
watch it again. It kind of pops up just an inch, and I just
you can also clearly see inside.
Always drove me insane because I'm just
Christensen's eyes. You can see Hayden's eyes.
Yeah, I'm not mad about putting it above Geonosis. So I would
It's one of those where I was like, either way.
Yeah. Okay, so Battle of Hoth.
Ooh.
This one's fun because I do take into account. I don't know, maybe you guys will or not, but I do take into account the kind of the what would you call it? The antics, not the antics, but just running around with Han, Leia, 3PO in the base, as well as obviously everything that Luke's doing out there, along with the entire alliance out there on the field, even though they're getting just absolutely whooped. Not even really a battle. It's really more of like a fending off. They got to do just enough. They're not, they're doing just enough to get the transports away. That's all it's really for. It's hardly a battle. It does qualify as a battle, but like really, so for that, I am going to put it below Naboo but above Coruscant.
How do they go from like giant remember that one thing with all the wheels from like the Clone War from Revenge of the Sith? We didn't do Battle of Kashyyyk, I guess, but whatever. That would have been because that was more of a plot device. Yeah. But like, how do they go from those like big jeeps to like, well, let's upgrade and do walkers where they walk really slow? Like you could have that entire top of an Imperial walker and put it under a freaking hovercraft or wheels, and just they would have steamrolled over Hoth, like in the Hoth base, in like 10 seconds. So the walkers, I wanted the toy as a kid so much, and I never got it. Damn you, Santa Claus. But like as a kid, it represented my childhood. That's why I would put it above Battle of Naboo, but under Geonosis, because it represents again a child. And I'm surprised, Frank, because Empire is your favorite of all of them, and that's another one of those iconic ones where it gets a lot of leeway just because like I just as a kid like the walkers and the tripping them up and stuff like that. Yeah. But in the sense of like, how do you go from like, hey boss, I got a new idea. This is going to be like what we had in the Clone Wars, but without the fast wheels. And now we're just gonna have it'll be scary for them, But
yeah, you know what? I'm changing my mind. You convinced me, Kevin. I'm gonna put it above Naboo, just because I also just think about the stuff inside the base with Han and like to me that elevates it more. It makes it more fun. Brandon, where are you gonna place it?
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement. I always liked the like ground battle aspect of it, and it's like kind of like we were talking earlier, like brings back the whole like trench warfare thing, and we'll see that later on talking about Crate. But yeah, I would place it there.
All right, let's do Battle of Endor. This one, look, if this is like Naboo tried to do what like. What Battle of Endor did, but like it just does it so much more better in terms of at least the space battle part, because the ground part of it on Endor I think is on par with what Naboo did, with at least the field battle in that sense. It's pretty much the same, but I think where it elevates is the space battle for sure. And to me, I want to put this one under Scarif. So it'd be my number 2.
That's exactly, it would be number 2. Yavin got up there for all the right reasons, obviously. But now when you're dealing with Battle of Endor, I don't think Mark Ellis watches our show, but if he did, he would unsubscribe if we don't put it at least under Scarif. Battle of Endor. I caught the opening of KOTOR Episode 3. Have you guys seen my movie? No. But when you finally see it, I rip off shot for shot like it's a trap. And from inside the Falcon, when they're like peeling off and you see like the Death Star move, like, with all the different layers, like with Lando and the ship, and it is up there. It could almost go if we had more time. I think we could almost put it above Scarif, to be honest. Now that we're thinking back, like because you got to include like I know we're not doing the saber battles, but just it is the death of the Emperor, and the end of the Scarif's the beginning. This is the end, basically, technically.
True.
So, but for now, because I know we're running out of time, we can always revisit it. But I would agree. I would put it under Scarif, and Brandon, you could put it above if you wanted to put it above Scarif. I wouldn't hate it, but yeah.
I think I would put it below Scarif. If Scarif didn't exist, it would be the clear winner. But I feel like the Battle of Scarif, like it took what they did with the Battle of Endor and just like did it again with like updated effects.
Yeah.
But also on top of that, you have like the nostalgia from like Gold Leader and Red Leader being there, and you also get like Blue Squadron, like coming down to the planet's surface, and that like gate that they have to like crash through, like that like Spaceballs, like you know, atmosphere thing. But and then also on top of that, though, I think, sorry Akbar, but I just something about Admiral Raddus, man. That guy is just, he's my guy.
Yeah, your guy.
He's my guy. So, and the creativity with the whole Hammerhead Corvette, like making one Star Destroyer crash into the other to break the gate so that they can get the transmission, and the suspense of it all, because they're doing this all like on like a time constraint. And I know so is like Endor, but like I just feel like the stakes are just like so much higher because it's like, we need these plans, otherwise like we're screwed.
I know, but remember, we know the outcome. Remember in Return, when the Death Star starts blowing up, like they're too close to the star. Like we got the Death Star when they start shooting the ships. Like stakes are pretty high on that. I think it's like 1A, 1B, and also the good news is Endor is at the top of our Skywalker Saga rankings if we weren't including Rogue One. So that's why I'm happy where we're at. I know we're on a time crunch anyway. So
one last thing though, what I'll say about Scarif that we didn't mention that I think really puts Scarif at the top is the K2SO death. That the emotional impact of that is
really, you don't care about Nanta's death, the little Ewok that dies. You don't care about him.
And the ground battle on Scarif, like Ewoks killing stormtroopers is like great and like fun and all, but like the whole like I'm one with the force is with me to pull the master switch, and everyone like dying, like it's like it speaks so much to the will of the force, because like everyone dies at the exact moment they're supposed to. Is like right after they do the one thing that has to get done, is like the force allowed them to live up until that point. And then it's like, okay, now like you're surrounded by stormtroopers. I can't
wait to show that to my wife. Actually, we're gonna watch that after Solo. So yeah, I agree, man. And I think these next ones we can kind of go through quickly.
Yeah, these ones are going to be Starkiller Base.
This is what's crazy about it. When we looked at this list, like I honestly think these next three, and it's funny because when they came out as they each time did, I was like, oh, this is great. I think these bottom three are going to end up above Mimban, but they're going to trade places in between parts. For me, anyway, under Coruscant, but above Mimban. Any of these three, to me, maybe Starkiller Base can go above Battle of Coruscant, because I mean it was in the snow again, and you did have that great stuff with Han and Chewie, and it is technically Han dies during that battle, and then they but they're not really in space, right? Like they're kind of above in space. So I remember someone saying like they didn't have a single space battle in the first in the first sequel, but it's kind of a rehash, so that you take points away from it. They do kind of do a little mini trench run.
They do.
Elo Asti, rest in peace. But I would put I think just because of the pure spectacle of it, and it did rejuvenate Star Wars, even though everybody hates on it now and with the 2020 vision for some reason. I could put it above Coruscant because it's longer and it carried the final act of that, The Force Awakens. But it's up to you guys, because otherwise I think the other two are just going to trade places right above Mimban. So
that's interesting. Go ahead, Brandon.
I would put it pretty low. I'd put it like above Mimban, but like I don't think I'd go much higher than that, just because like I don't know, it just doesn't do much for me. That's like one part of the movie where it was like, oh, we've seen this better done in other Star Wars movies.
Yeah,
so
it's fair.
That whole to that point, Brandon, I think also the Starkiller Base is more about that whole battle is more centered on Rey and Kylo than it is really about. They don't show you that much of what's going on with Stark. It's because it's a rehash. We know what the kind of the beats of that thing is going to be. So for that, I'm going to agree with Brandon. Put it above Mimban and
If we were ranking lightsaber,
it's Starkiller Base.
If we were ranking lightsaber fights, I would put that lightsaber fight very high. But the battle,
me too.
And
I remember when Samuel Jackson talked smack. Someone interviewed him about The Force Awakens right when it came out. He's like, "Someone needs to teach those motherfuckers how to lightsaber duel." Because like he didn't like how they were just swinging and hitting, but I liked that it was vicious. You know what I mean? They weren't supposed to be trained like Jedis. And
also, Sam Jackson, your stuff wasn't like the best executed. Like
I thought. Well, I like the one with about movies.
I said executed, not necessarily the fact that what he was doing was cool, but the way that it came off. Anyways, that's not here or there. But Battle of Crate, I actually like this one a decent amount, but not enough to put it above Coruscant, but above Starkiller.
Okay,
I like it too.
I mean that's a fight. I think I would put it above Coruscant. It's just cool, unique with like this the tracking. It's just sometimes it's all about like the cleverness of it, right? When they're touching it, and it's the salt, and it's the white and red, which was like it's very iconic for that movie now, right? But I also am not. That's not a hill to die on. It goes below Coruscant for me as well. Battle of Crate above Starkiller Base.
Because also that's also more about it's more about Luke and Kylo. Like to me, like the focus is more on that. Like there is some emphasis of focus on Finn in terms of what he's willing to do, and I think that serves his character up to that point really well. And I was like, oh my god, are they gonna kill Finn? I was like, they might, whatever, but they didn't. And but I do say what really raises it again though is when Rey comes into Millennium Falcon. She's going through. It's one of my favorite sequences of the entire sequel trilogy, if not or it's one or two, whatever. Great. And because the music kicks in, and I'm like, hell yeah, this is Star Wars. But it's so short-lived. It's so short-lived that if it was longer, if it was more of that type of stuff, it could have really elevated it.
The director said there's an homage to Star Tours too, going through.
Yeah, it was that part is phenomenal, but not enough for me to elevate it over Coruscant. If it was like 4 minutes longer, 5 minutes longer, it probably could have done it for me because I freaking love that sequence. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I would honestly, like on my own personal list, I'd put it above Coruscant, but I'm okay with putting it below it.
I would put it above Coruscant. So if we're following our rules, then it should go above Coruscant.
I'm cool to put it because I thought about putting it above Coruscant, but I can go Coruscant above Coruscant.
I'm a big fan. I love like the whole emotional side of things. Like this is the Resistance backed into a corner. What the hell's gonna happen? You're on the edge of your seat, and Rey coming in like shooting like what was it like 2 or 3 TIE fighters with like one shot, and
that was pretty sweet. Yeah.
I just remember thinking to myself, I was like, yeah, this is Star Wars, man.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. I almost used that song in a KOTOR part,
but you did it. Okay,
I did it because it was. I was told that it was already used in another movie that's connected to KOTOR. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
Battle of
Exegol.
I have this all listed, by the way. I've been keeping up our order, Frank.
Okay, I have as well, but good for you. Good. We have double check.
Good for me. Yeah, thanks.
I didn't want to say it that way, but I was like, good.
Oh, good for you.
Oh yeah, you know him. Yeah, you know him. Was he like that on the side?
Next question.
Exegol.
I
go ahead, Brandon.
I just want to jump in and say I would put this like above Force Awakens and Minbon, but like for me, like everything they try to do from like an emotional standpoint of like, oh my god, are people actually going to show up? And then they do show up. I just like when I watch it, I go, man, like Rogue One did this so much better. So like I like because there was so much buildup of the will they, won't they, where like, and there's not enough time. This movie needed like another 20 minutes of like Lando and Chewie trying to convince people to show up, and they're like, nah, I don't really wanna.
There are more of us.
Yeah, but
I think there's so much going on too that you can't really latch on to anyone or like worry about it. Like Snap Wexley dies, but I can't remember for the life of me how he dies in it. Same with Nien Nunb, he's dead like in it. Like I can't remember. So I just think it's not that memorable. Maybe a couple more years of it could go higher.
No.
So I would put it above Starkiller Base, just because I do like the theme, the Star Wars theme, and it's kind of like a celebration of the end of the Skywalker saga as far as when they're all showing up and so I would put it above Starkiller Base. I don't know if Frank would, but I would, but it would definitely be below everything.
I would not put it above.
Watch that.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what's so disappointing about this battle. It's so disappointing. The potential for it could have been incredible, but it was never going to build to that. And I think to give some deference to the sequel trilogy, they were never about doing big spectacle battle. it was more about the interpersonal relationships, and it was always about Kylo and Rey and Palpatine to an extent, and Snoke and Luke, right? It was about more about those relationship type battles that the sequel trilogy was more focused on, and then giving you spectacle. Rian Johnson did a little bit at the start of The Last Jedi, but that's probably really it. I mean, that's and I think he did both factors well, but still in the end he went back to those relationship type battles. And so for that reason, Exegol is such a big disappointment that I can't put it above Starkiller. But if you guys want to put it above Starkiller, that's fine, because I'm not that thrilled about Starkiller either way. But
yeah, I mean, I that's my first thing would still be above it, just because you did get Wedge in there. Like, there's a couple fun things, and you did get space horses running on top of a thing. Like, yeah,
that's cool.
It's just kind of unique. It could have been. That should have been number 2 or 1. It should have been the next battle at Endor, and it wasn't.
And honestly, I guess you would throw in Kylo and Rey with the Emperor, because it's not a lightsaber duel. It's not. It's part of the battle. Sure. But some of that stuff is I do like that stuff. I actually like Kylo's parts in that a lot, and Rey's part in that a lot. So I guess I would put it above Starkiller then. Yeah,
I agree. And I would have liked it more if Kylo actually spoke. The last thing he says in the whole trilogy is "ow."
Yeah,
I mean,
I did
and
love
the shoulder
his
shrug
side theme. I loved how they took his musical theme and added it in a major instead of a minor, so it sounded heroic. Go back here when we get to the music aspects, but I just posted in. You could list the. Well, it doesn't list it good there, but whatever.
Okay, so the final list. Here we go. We have Battle of Scarif is number 1. Number 2, Battle of Endor. Number 3, Battle of Yavin. Number 4, Battle of Geonosis. Number 5 is going to be Battle of Hoth. Number 6, Battle of Naboo, and that's above number 7, which is Battle of Crate. Number 8 is Coruscant, Battle above Coruscant. Number 9 is the Battle of Exegol. Number 10, Starkiller Base. And number 11, Battle on Minban. And that is our list. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with this list, guys.
Stoked on it.
Pretty good. I'm snoked on it, dude.
Jesus.
And just to give perspective, the which is kind of crazy because we loved it so much. Well, no, I guess I'm wrong. In the Skywalker saga, Endor would be first place and Starkiller would be last place. That's funny.
Yeah.
Remember, it's sandwiched between Rogue One and Solo. Yeah. But great list. I know one of us has a time crunch, Brandon. So,
we're gonna get out of here now. And this was a fun list to do. Let us know your list or what's your favorite battles in Star Wars in the comments below. Subscribe to our channel. Hit like on this video. We're trying to also get to 600 subscribers by the end of the year. You can follow us all on our socials. Links to all those in the description below. And again, reminder: Scoundrels Inc. panel this weekend, December 3rd at 1:30 p.m. at LA Comic-Con. Be there or don't, and if you're not, that would make us sad. But if you could be there, that'd make us happy. So be there. We'd love to see you there and have a great time. I'm Frank. That's Brandon. That's Kevin. This has been Scoundrels Inc. We'll see you at LA Comic-Con, and we'll see you next week.
Later.
Scoundrel. I like the sound of that.